Okay, good morning, everyone. So first of all, thank you for coming on a Saturday. I think it's really difficult to do this for me also to come on a Saturday. It's difficult, but I guess you all understand the importance of having done this. So I will anyway upload it in YouTube, and then you will have the material to watch whenever you want. So essentially, you don't miss out on anything. But any case, let's get started. So basically, the agenda for today is to finish the recap of probability. Okay, so the basics that you need to know. So let's start. Okay, so this is a talk from my colleague who is in IIT Dharwad. So he also gives a preliminary talk before he teaches this machine learning course because people might have forgotten it and things like that. So I borrowed these slides from him. Any case, so these are the important concepts that all of you should get familiar with. So let me just keep discussing this in the manner in which it is presented here, and then if you have any questions, something is not clear, you feel free to interrupt me. Okay, the first and the kind of the most important thing over here. Just a minute. I have to just restart this thing called as. Okay, 1 second. Just a minor glitch. Then, yeah. Did I have to do some? Oh yeah, sorry, this cable has come off. All right. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so first is the idea of a random variable. So as I told you, what random variable does is it's a function, random variable x. Okay, so let's see. All right, so I don't know why this is not writing here. All right, so this is somehow not working. So anyway, let's just forget about this. I will just open this. Okay, this is not working. So what I will do is I will open right next to this simultaneously. Okay, and then we will put this over here. We will put this over here, and then we will discuss this. Okay, all right. So there is a random variable x, which is from omega to r. See, the whole idea of doing a random variable, why random variable if we have to ask, there are several reasons. Okay, first and foremost, okay, it simplifies. See, whenever you have a random variable, it simplifies your problem, because there are many times statistical patterns, right? So what does that mean? For example, you may have a normal distribution. Okay, so then you may have an exponential, you may have a Poisson. Okay, so the idea of a random variable is you can focus on the particular types of patterns rather than getting lost in the original experiment itself. So basically, random variable is a measurement, okay, of a random experiment. Okay, so that is the most important thing that you will learn. Random variable is a concept that you must need to get familiar with. Okay, and the second point in a random variable is there is a probability distribution associated with it, and the way you specify the probability distribution depends upon whether it is discrete or continuous. Okay, so what is a discrete random variable? So in a discrete random variable, the values that the random variable takes will be finite or countably finite. Okay, so if you remember your class from discrete maths, so countably finite means you can map the values that the random variables takes to integers. So if there is a mapping f from z to x of omega, okay, if there is a mapping from integers to this, if you can do a both-way mapping, that means it's a countably finite set. Okay, so a discrete random variable can be finite or countably finite, and the way you specify a discrete random variable is you specify the probability mass function. Okay, so in a probability mass function, so you define something like, if x prime is a random variable, you ask what is the probability that x prime is equal to 1. Okay, what is the probability that x prime is equal to 2? So basically what this means is, this is the internal meaning for this is, what is the probability that x1, the random variable, the x prime, the random variable x prime takes a value 1. Okay, so this is like this. So the example given here is a dice throw. So if you throw a dice, so if you remember what's a dice, so you have this kind of a shape, right? So you have some things like this. So each face of the dice, has the same probability of coming. So that is why we are saying that P of x prime is equal to 1, P of x prime of 1 is 1 over 6, P of x prime of 2 is 1 over 6, and so on. Okay, so this is the dice throw experiment, and there is no reason that it has to be taking values in the positive thing as well. You can also have a random experiment which takes the value, instead of taking at integers, it can take at finite values of, but it can be negative, it can be integer, and so on. Okay, so there is no reason that z has to be integer. The domain has to be integers. It can take the values even in real number or in rational number and so on, or even in the negative number. So these things you are familiar with. I'm just trying to quickly give a recap. Okay, so if this is the probability mass function, if you want to write it as a tabular form, what you do is you just look up what is the chance of like x taking the value negative 0.2. The probability of that is 0.3. So that is how you write from the graph into a tabular form. All right. So now next important quantity that comes in for a discrete random variable, even for a continuous random variable, is the idea of expectation. Okay, so expectation is a what is the idea of expectation? This is like, you can think of it as a average. You can think of it as like an average, or you can think of it as a single number. Okay, single number approximation to the entire distribution. Okay, entire distribution. So this is like the single best number which best approximates the distribution. Now here, what I mean by that is, suppose if I look at this quantity. So let us say, let us take an example. Okay, so you have P of x equal to 1 equal to P of x equal to 2. P of x equal to 3, P of x equal to 4, equal to x equal to 5, is equal to x equal to 6, which is equal to 1 over 6. Okay, let us try to compute. Suppose if I take value 2, okay, and I will use 2 to approximate the entire distribution x. Okay, now I want to find out what is the error. Okay, so the error, if you see, there are many ways in which you can talk about error. One is I can do x minus 2 itself, but this is a problem. Why? Can someone tell me if I take this as an error? Error is a random variable. If I take this, why is it a problem to take this as an error? Can someone tell me this?
Negative values.
Negative values will cancel.
Positive, negative, yeah.
Yes, negative values will cancel with positive values. That's a very good point. So second thing, instead of that, we can take a modulus, or there is another choice. What you can do is you can take x minus 2 whole squared. Okay, so we will use this error because this is what is called as root mean square. I mean, if you take the square root of this, you get what is called as RMS error, root mean square. All right, so we will use this, and let us try to compute the error if we use approximation as 2. Okay, so this is equal to the expected value of x minus 2 whole squared. So if I do this, let's just try to do it. So this will be 1 squared into 1 over 6 plus 0 into 1 over 6 plus, everybody, I hope you are following what I'm doing here. Uh, 3 squared into 1 over 6 plus 4 squared into 1 over 6. Can someone quickly compute this and tell me what is this error? Okay, so I have to do it. 1 over 6 plus 1 over 6 plus 4 over 6 plus 9 over 6 plus 16 over 6, 20, 29, 30, 31 over 6. Okay, what you can show is that if you actually take E of like the expectation of x, suppose mu is equal to the expectation of x, okay, which is equal to what is that, 3.5 here, right, in the example here. So if you take that as the expected value, and if you take the error with respect to the expected value, this is going to be less than E of A for all A. Okay, so in that sense, the mean is the best approximation. Okay, is this clear to everybody? Okay, let's just quickly take a small check. Manan, you have something to ask?
Sir, can you please repeat the last line?
Okay, so
Expected value of average.
okay, so
Yeah.
which part, Manan? Which one is confusing here?
Sir, just the bounded box, like.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, if you take this is not expected value. Okay, so I should be very careful. Let me write it as ERR. The error that you get, that is, I'm defining the error of a value 2 as expected value of x minus 2 whole square. Okay, so error 2, for instance, I have computed it to be 31 divided by 6. Now what I'm saying is, if you take error that you get from the mean of a random variable, that error will be less than any other value A for all A belonging to real numbers. Manan, does it make sense, this box now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this is like the expected value is a single best approximation to the entire distribution. So that is the idea. Okay, so you will see this directly being used in machine learning, okay, at some point. And when it comes, I will remind you again. So that is one thing. Now, next is the variance, the formula of variance. So variance of x is actually equal to the expected value of x minus E of x whole square. Okay, and if x is discrete random variable, this is what it turns out to be. Now, in a similar manner, like how everything is defined for discrete random variables, we can also have an analogous version for continuous random variables. In continuous random variables, what happens is instead of having a probability mass function, what you have is called as a probability density function. Okay, and the density function, what it represents. So if I take an example like this, whatever is given here. Okay, so this is a uniform density 0, 1, and this a density function. Suppose if I take a point, let us say 0.2, and if I just draw a small width here, okay, very small width, which is called as delta. Okay, so basically so the density function has the property that this is greater than 0, and integration of minus infinity to infinity of f of x dx, this is 1. But the way that you should think about density function is that if you take a small delta neighborhood, okay, what does that mean? That means probability that x falls in 0.2 minus delta over 2, comma 0.2 plus delta over 2. Okay, delta is very small. This probability is approximately equal to f of 0.2 into delta. So this is the interpretation that you should have in mind whenever you deal with density. Okay, it is not just true for a uniform, it is also true for any arbitrarily shaped density function. So for example, if you have a density which has this weird shape, okay, and then if you take a point somewhere here, let's say this is 0.8, then if you just take a small delta neighborhood around 0.8, even here probability has the same interpretation. You can talk of 0.8 into delta, and then this is the probability that x falls in that neighborhood. Okay, so this is the interpretation that you should have in mind. So now this is the continuous density, and then there are several important distributions that each of you must go and revise. Okay, so first one is the Gaussian density. So in Gaussian density, you have a single variable Gaussian. Single variable Gaussian, the density f of x is given by this formula here, whatever you see. Okay, so this is what he has written here is standard Gaussian, but it can also be like with some mean mu and variance. Okay, sigma square. So this we have discussed plenty in class, so I will not spend too much time here. But you should also go and read multivariable Gaussian. Okay, so this will be very useful when we are doing algorithms such as EM. Okay, when we are doing if at all we ever do that, so Gaussian processes and things like that, it will be useful. So please go ahead and when you have time, revise the multivariable Gaussian. But what I will tell you is that it has, so basically if you have x1, x2, xn, the multivariate Gaussian formula is given by something like this. Determinant of sigma, okay, the modulus, then I'm continuing here since there is no space, e power minus x is a vector now, so x1, x2, x3 is a vector, x minus mu is a vector, okay, transpose sigma inverse x minus mu. Okay, so this whole divided by half. Please go ahead and go and revise this. This is an important concept that we will use at some point, but you need to know what it means. All right, so this is Gaussian, and again, just like for discrete, what you had expectation and variance, similarly you can have expectation and variance for continuous random variables in this manner. So everything is same. Wherever the summation came, it is got replaced by an integral. Okay, and here is an example how you can compute this. Okay, so yeah, so I will leave you to check all of this. So for a uniform, y it is half, for a variance. So at least for uniform and Gaussian, please go and check these things. Okay, whether these integrations actually give you these numbers. Okay, so next important concept is called as the function of a random variable. So basically, if you take a random variable and then you take a function of it, so what I mean to say is, suppose z is given by g of x, where x itself is random. then okay, z is also a random variable. Because x is random, z also, the values that z takes, that also will be random. Okay, and the function, so whatever the initial PMF is there, it will get transformed to z's PMF. Whatever initial density is there, that will also get transformed to z's PDF. Okay, and one interesting property which is not so obvious is that even though z is a different random variable, okay, so if we know that expected value of z is equal to z fz of z dx. So this is dz. This is what we needed to do, right? This is the definition. But you can also integrate it with respect to the original z itself. So original x itself. So this can also be done. Okay, where z, in the next step, I will replace what is the value of z taking. That is going to be g of x, fx of x dx. So this is a rather, even though it looks like a very, not very like surprising, but it's actually kind of involved to show this. So you can again, if you want, you can check some of my lectures from last semester, and we have actually discussed this at some length. Okay. I hope the importance of this formula is clear. Okay, so please feel free to interrupt me. All right, so let's move on. So next, let's try to do an example. If we take original density probability mass function in this manner, and if I take the square, what will happen? So what we can see, let me just make some space here. Okay, I'm not able to copy for whatever reason. Anyway, so whenever you have x squared, 0 gets mapped to 0. Okay, so let's just discuss this at length. So 0, what is that? So z is equal to x squared. Okay, so z, so that is how it is. So 0 gets mapped to 0. Okay, 1 and minus 1 gets mapped to 1. Okay, 2 and minus 2 gets mapped to 4. Okay, so that's it. So basically, if you see properly, there is a value of for 0. The height of that, the probability that happens, that is same as what is the probability that x takes a value 0. For 1, we are actually summing up this probability and this probability. Since there is nothing that maps to 2 and 3, these probabilities are 0. For 4, we are summing this, and that's what comes over here. So I hope you can understand how you can, given a mass function, how do you transform it into the function, the mass function of the function of random variable. Okay, I'm just going fast because these are all things that you have learned at some point. I'm just trying to jog your memory. All right. So now, a more non-trivial thing is, if u is a uniform random variable, and if you take this function w equal to minus ln of 1 minus u, okay, some function of the uniform random variable, what happens is it gets transformed into a density like this. Okay, the original uniform was between 0 and 1, but the transformed value takes a value between 0 and infinity. Okay, and it actually turns out that it's an exponential density. So again, this concept, you can go and check my videos. There is some explanation on this too, but you can actually show this. All right. So I will not get into the detail why that happens, but to really get an idea. So if u takes a value extremely close to 1, ln of a value close to 0 is minus infinity. So minus of minus becomes plus infinity. That is why you can have a value which goes all the way close to infinity. So you can limit, you can approach infinity as u approaches 1. So that's the reason why you are seeing this kind of a pattern. All right. Okay, so these are all the things. Now, after this, next important concept that we should learn is multiple random variables. Okay, so let's just pause over here for a minute, and then let me ask people if they have any idea how multiple random variables can arise. Okay, so can anyone give me an example where multiple randomness can arise in a same domain? You can take a machine learning example also. Any example where multiple random variables will be used? I'm just asking this so that, it's a very one-sided delivery, and it's a Saturday and all of you have taken the trouble to come in on a Saturday. I just want to ensure that you are following along. So anyone wants to tell me an example where multiple random variables come? You can type in the chat as well.
Sir, height and weight.
Okay, Siddharth also exactly said the same thing. Thank you, Tushar. So basically, yes, so there are many examples. Okay, so for example, if you take height and weight, okay, of a random person, you can use this to predict whether that person is male or female. Okay, that is one example. Then you can also look at education and salary to predict whether a person will default or not default. Okay. Then you can look at again salary and past experience to predict whether the person will stay loyal or not loyal, which means whether the person will leave the company or not. Okay, and then you can look at past promotions. You can look at past promotions and salary to determine whether the candidate will get promotion or no promotion in this current next promotion. Okay, you can do all of these things. Okay, then in the case of you can look at there are many things like that. Whatever machine learning problem you see, there will be multiple features. Okay, these are things what gets transformed as features in machine learning. Okay, and there are several features. There will not be a single feature. Okay, so it's an important thing that you need to know the idea of multiple random variables arising together. Okay, so that is good. So you have seen some examples now. Let us now try to ask ourselves, how do you deal with functions of multiple random variables? So that is the next topic, function of multiple random variables. Okay, so let us say x and y are two random variables. We take the sum of two random variables as x sum is equal to x plus y. So let us say x is the height and y is the weight. Okay, so how do you now, for example, let us say look at expected value of s. So that's an easy question. But anyway, let's do something else. So s is equal to x plus y, and let us say product is equal to x into y. The question is, what is the how does the density of this look? So how do you do this? Anyone wants to tell me how can we solve this? So given that you have two random variables x and y, how do you find its density, or let us say how do you find its probability mass function?
Joint density function.
Okay, good, Tushar. So joint, you have to look at the joint. So that is where we are going next. Okay. So if you want to do that, you need to know what is the concept of joint distribution. So what is the meaning of that? Let me try to explain. Okay. So see, in the case of height and weight, okay. So if you look at height and weight of a men and women in a general population, typically, what you will find is that women tend to be shorter and lighter. So this is height. Okay, this is the weight. So you will find typically, so let us use blue to denote women. So this will be the kind of there will be some concentration, and there will be this kind of a pattern. So these are supposed to be dots, okay? But I hope you don't get too confused. So these are how the data will look like. Whereas if you look at men, what will happen is the men will have typically more height, but there will be some overlap, like I'm showing. Okay, So this is this blue pattern and this other red pattern is what is meant by the joint distribution. And then what you do as a machine learning person is you try to arrive at a boundary like this and try to classify it. Okay, given a new point. So let us say I have a new point which I don't know what it is. So suppose there is a new point here, there's a new point here. I need to classify whether that person is a man or a woman. Okay, and then this is where the joint distribution will be useful. Okay, so for discrete random variable, there is what is called as joint PMF, joint probability mass function. Okay, so that is defined as pxy of small x small y. This is equal to probability that x takes the value x, simultaneously y takes the value small y. Okay, so this is called as a joint PMF. So again, these concepts I'm just brushing over. You just go back and read it yourself. So if you take an example like this, and if you plot x and y like this, you get a three-dimensional thing. This is the values x can take, this is the values y can take, and the blue pillars, they are the probabilities that each of these combinations happen. So this is this pillar, for instance, is the probability that y takes the value 2 and x takes the value 1. Okay, this is the way you can do it. If you want, you can then look at this in terms of slices. So you can look at slice at a time. So you take x equal to 1, and then you can look at the first slice. So this is the first slice. Then you can look at x equal to 2, and then you can look at this slice. Then you can look at x equal to 3, and you can look at this slice. All right. So the next idea that is important is what is how do you find? Okay, so now let us say I have given you this. So let me just ask somebody to make this a little more interesting. So if I ask you py of y, how does one compute it? Can someone tell me, for this example, what is py of y? Somebody from the UG?
Summation for all x or that way.
Yeah, that is correct. So first of all, even before we go there, Rajnish, can you tell me what are all the values y can take?
Sir, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
On this y-axis.
Yeah, right. So now whatever Rajnish was saying is you look at the y that you're interested in. So you are looking at this y. So if you want to find out what is the probability that y takes the value 1, you need to look at what is the probability. So probability that y takes the value 1 is equal to probability that x takes the value 1 and y takes the value 1 plus probability that x takes the value 2 and y takes the value 1 plus probability that x takes the value 3 and y takes the value 1. And if there are more values where there is a mass, you may have to sum that up as well. But essentially, you are doing a summation. So what does that? How do you write that mathematically? So py of y is summation pxy of x comma y, and then you sum over all x in x of omega. So basically, all the points the random variable can take, you take and you sum that up. So that will give you the marginal distribution. So that's how you do it, and here is what is shown here by just summing up this. So I hope that's all right. Okay, so now after all of this, moving on. So this is the marginal thing, we just discussed this, and now this is another thing which arises, very important thing, which is called as conditional distribution. Okay, so let me just ask people. So look at this. This one. So can somebody tell me what is the meaning of conditional distribution x given x, okay, of 1, comma 1? Okay, so can I have somebody from the audience, preferably from the UG, because they have not seen this for quite some time, they have probably forgotten. How do we find this? This is called as a conditional PMF.
We'll look at the y-axis, then find the probability that x is 1 on that axis.
Very good. So what we are doing is we look at y equal to 1, okay, and look at what is the probability that x is equal to 1, okay. So that is what you said. So now how do we actually do it? So what is the value? Can you read it off from the table? Oh, this is directly the conditional distribution. All right. So this is okay. Can you read it off from here? Yes. So who was that who answered me that time? Can you read this out from the table here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell me then what it is. So
Sir,
x equal
it is
yeah.
y equal on the y equal to 1 axis. There are 3 points.
Yes.
So I need to find the probability that x equal to 1 on that point. So that would be 0.10 divided by 0.10 plus 0.05 plus 0.05.
Very good. Very good. So that is the important thing. Okay. So you have learned this well. So this is actually, whenever you have this something like this, what you need to do is you have to look at what is the value of the point over here. Okay. Divided by what is the total probability that you fall in y equal to 1. Okay. So this is what is the idea of conditional probability. Okay. Again, a very important concept. And then you just do this. And this denominator is basically you sum over all x and y equal to 1. Okay, so to give you the idea what is the importance of this. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me tell you something in machine learning where this comes. Okay, so you will soon see. Okay, so x is a set of features, right? You remember this discussion that we were having. X is a set of features. Y is label. Okay. And your hypothesis h of x, okay, is actually, if you think about it properly, statistically speaking, this has to be equal to what is the probability that the label y takes the value I given x. Okay, so this is your classification problem. Okay, and similarly, your regression problem. If you had a regression problem, h of x is conditional expectation of y given x. Okay, both your important machine learning, supervised machine learning problem is actually conditional probability, is a concept in conditional probability. Okay, so conditional probability is very important. So if you don't understand anything, this is the time to ask. Does everybody follow how do you get conditional PMF? Can I have a quick survey here since it is so important? Yes, this is okay so far.
Sir, I didn't understand the last equation. H of x
Okay.
is equal to E of y given x.
See, what I'm saying is in a regression problem, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to look at the value of x, right? And then you are supposed to predict what is the real value that you are supposed to, for a problem, whenever you are given x, what you are supposed to do? You are supposed to tell me what is the y that you are predicting. Okay. So given that x takes a certain value, okay, so let me just take an example. So let us look at the house price problem. House price prediction. Okay, so now, so given that x1 is, let us say, number of bedrooms, x2 is the area, let's say x3 is the floor, okay, and x4 is the district, okay, and then let us say there are 100 districts. Okay, floor can be 1 to 10. Area, let us say, is small, medium, large, extra large, and something like this. Okay, bedroom can be 1, 2, 3, 8, up to 8 bedrooms, something like this. Okay, now if I want to take a particular sample, so let us say a new house has come, new house. Okay, new house has property that x1 is it's a 2-bedroom house. Okay, it's a medium house. It is in the 3rd floor. It's in the 5th district. Okay, I want to predict what is the price y. Okay, now what I'm trying to say, if you look at this, if you do a machine learning problem, let us say you build a Bayes classifier. Okay, you will get essentially some kind of a distribution for y. Your y fy of y might look something like this. It might look like a normal distribution with mean equal to, let us say, 50 lakhs. Something like this you may get. Okay, now the question is, what do you predict? Manan, what will you predict if I have something like this?
Sir, like 50 lakhs.
Yes, that is what it is, right? So I will predict what is expected value of x given x1 takes the value 2, x3 value this and this. So this is what I meant by the equation over here. Is that clear now?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay.
Sir,
Okay,
how you
so-
got 50 lakhs?
No, this very good. So this will be from the data. This is this figure you will learn from the data. You will look at previous houses. Okay, so in the previous in the training sample you will have several houses of the same features. So you will have some training sample here, some training sample here, some training sample here. You will see this in the course. Okay, don't worry. We will learn all of these things. You will get all these training samples, and this is how you get. Tushar, is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yeah, the point is, please go back and revise conditional distributions, conditional expectation, okay, conditional PMF, conditional PDF, everything you have to go and revise. Okay, so we have seen all of these things now, right? So now, independence of random variables. So this is also important point. So independence of random variables is an important concept. So what it is saying is, are x and y related in some way? Okay, that is the idea. So can someone tell me example where random variables are not independent and random variables where they are independent? So I need independent examples and not independent examples. Anybody?
Sir, height and weight are dependent examples.
Very good. Okay, so height and weight are dependent. Okay. Yes, what else? What else is dependent?
Area and number of bedrooms.
Yes, very good. So area and number of bedrooms. So it's all very simple concept. Okay, so these are all things that you know. Okay, very good. So now we are done with all dependent samples. Can you tell me a few independent samples?
2 coin tosses.
Yes, so 2 coin tosses. So basically, I don't know, is it India versus England going on? So if you take the outcome of the first test, okay, test coin toss, and second test coin toss, okay, so they will not be dependent. Just because the first coin toss was won by India, the second coin toss will be won by England, we can never say. Okay, so these tosses are independent. How about coin toss and winning a match? Are they dependent or independent?
Sir, dependent.
Yes, very good. So now you understand what it is saying. Coin toss and match outcome, okay, is dependent, because then a lot of factors will come into play. Okay, what about independent? Can someone tell me another example of an independent random variable?
Sir, me coming to class and us landing on Mars next day.
Yeah, exactly. So something which is not connected at all. Okay, so attending special class, okay, and getting kidnapped by aliens. Okay, I really hope it is not dependent. Okay, so these are independent things. So mathematically speaking, if something is if x and y are independent, the value that y takes does not have any implication on value that x takes. So that is what is shown here. Okay, this means x and y are independent. Okay, so similarly, the value taken by y also does not affect the distribution of x. This is also another way to look at it. Okay, so these are all the things that are independent. So examples here, suppose if you have a sequence of fair coin tosses, even if it is not fair, if you are doing repeatedly tosses, okay, they will be independent. Okay. Now, another thing, so here, this is something that we have discussed a great length in the class. You can actually look at the fair coin tosses and then estimate the mean of the coin by looking at the sample mean. This is what is called as SN. Okay. So SN denotes the fraction of heads in the end coin tosses. All right. So if you look at one coin toss, two coin toss, you get a sequence of random variables. Okay. Now the question is, where does SN converge to? So if I keep doing the sequence, right, it's a sequence of some numbers. Where does it converge to? Yes, we have seen this in the class. Can I have somebody answer me this? So where does SN converge to? Somebody? You can type in the chat. Yeah.
If n is very large, then it will converge to the probability of x equals 1.
Yes. So it converges to the actual mean. Okay. So this is what we saw. And let us see. Nidish, do you remember what is this called? Have you learned this? What is the property called? No, you told that is correct, but what is it called? What is the formal name? Just to recall, if you know, do you remember? Have you?
Yeah. I don't remember the word.
Yeah, it is called as anyway. It is memory is not what we are testing anyway. I hope so. It's called weak law of large numbers. Have you read this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is called as weak law of large numbers. Sn converges to mu in probability. Okay, what it means is probability that Sn minus mu, okay, is greater than some error epsilon. The limit of this, as n tends to infinity, goes to 0. Okay, and for all epsilon greater than 0, no matter what you choose, you will always get that this is going to 0. So this is what is called as convergence in probability. Have you heard of this phrase, convergence in probability? Nidish, have you learned this, convergence in probability?
Yes, sir. So I know that we had learned weak law of large numbers, but
okay, but this is what is called as convergence in probability. Okay, no problem. That's fine. Okay, so yeah, so these are all things that I just discussed, and yeah, so this property holds for not just any x, even for a function of x also. If you take and if you look at the mean of that, even Zn converges to that as well. All right, so okay, looks like we are at the end of the discussion. So this is the last slide of the thing. So we can actually stop here, but I hope this was useful for all of you. So if there are any questions, we will take up now. Otherwise, I will stop here. And starting Tuesday, we will start with a base classifier, which is the first thing. I will also share some videos for you to watch if you're interested, but those videos, I will warn you beforehand, they are extremely complicated. So you just decide whether you want to take the trouble or not. I will give you some videos to watch, some lecture, some material to read. Okay, but if you feel the material is hard, the videos is hard, I will anyway teach that later. Okay. So are there any questions in the discussion that we had today? Is everybody feeling a little bit better about probability? Yes, is everything okay? So if there are, somebody has a question, let us see. Okay, Rajnish, yeah. Okay, so everybody is fine, I hope. So let's stop here. And I once again, thank you for all of you for coming for today's class. So, okay, I hope it was useful. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.